Can you hear me? Okay, good. All right. Thank you, Aaron, for everything. And thank you to everyone for coming. I'm just going to get straight into it. A brief disclaimer, if you can hear any noise behind me, it may either be the neighbors in the pretty awful place where I live, or my children who seem to be ignoring the fact that I have repeatedly asked them to be a little bit quieter downstairs. So apologies in advance if that disturbs the reading. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Anyway, I love the cover. I'm in love with the cover. It was instant and I knew it was perfect. So let's get into it. Xenolith. Let me give you something. It begins with scalpel, pickaxe. I promise this will not be a pretty sight. I'll let you in beneath the ribs, make a clean cut. Bring the axe, burrow deep until you reach the bedrock. This is where we left off. This necrotic rock stump bound in blue marble. This is yours. Posthumous narrative. Here's what I know. He was a war hero, decorated for serving time at sea. His hair was slicked into tight curls the color of curdled milk. Sour. Neck tucked into stiff collars, smart navy tie, Sunday best dressed at all times. Or that he was fond of flashing silk stockings at children, one of them my mother. Or that the rooms in that house are screaming caskets, home to the ghosts of girls who knew too much. Or that there are infinite possible worlds, and in them all, he is the same. Now, the history of love letters. This is one of my really old poems from when I first started out writing. I think I wrote it in 2016, and it's remained one of my favorites, which is an accomplishment given that I generally hate everything I write for a prolonged period of time shortly after writing it. But yeah, a history of love letters. Miss said, every time I told a lie, baby Jesus had a nail hammered into his hand. She said I had a sad mouth, corners downturned, pointing to hell. Stephen had a mouth like sunshine. I gave him a token, a tiny toy dinosaur egg, pale blue and gold. I wrote his name on my hand and hoped the egg would hatch. My body grew and Granny said, never shave your legs. So I did. Better boiled spring chicken, better descaled, plucked bare for boys with nervous fingers to work me open. The one who wrote love letters spilled his entrails in black biro, telling me in no particular order the parts he liked best, some illustrated. When Napoleon begged his Josephine to lay herself bare, he meant for her flaws to fold her into neat and precious squares, for her to be less than his clenched fist heart could hold. In place of a filigree pen, my hands hold pistachios, peeping from the lips of yawning oatmeal shells, ripe and given up easily for a hungry mouth that isn't my own. The next one is actually also in the full-length collection, which is also coming out with Broken Sleep next year. And it's called Gathering in the Head, or The Perils of Novel Reading. The story behind this is the story behind the whole collection, really. I'm very interested in hysteria and the reasons why women were sent to lunatic asylums. And one of the reasons that was often cited for women being committed was gathering in the head, like a condition. So I used that for the poem. Gathering in the Head, or The Perils of Novel Reading. To begin, she gathered purity. This required an intimate learning of invisible ropes, coarse braids coded in knots like braille. She gathered the gift of a name rooted in father, daughter of, property of, planted in a glass box with dolls, daisies, pirouettes, pink dresses, etiquette. Pretty thing, mild thing, sweet thing, does she sing? Grew gold thistle between her thighs, greenbrier in her belly. Realized pain as prescription. Gathered language, wrote herself at night in the mist of her breath, by candlelight erased it. Gathered fear. Gathered broad hips, small shoulders, breasts, full lips to paint and paint worship with. Grew modesty and virtue, grew into a curved and luscious rib. Gathered value, voyeurs, appraisals, got a promise from a learned, bearded man. Gathered the same gift twice, renamed, loose roots in a new lineage, wife of, property of, validated by. Gathered her ropes and took them with her. He voyaged insatiably and found her gold, fancied himself Midas, multiplied it tenfold. She gathered porcelain cherub mouths to pour herself into, not one drop wasted. Gathered age, stale water, scooped it out from under her tongue and asked its name. Grew thirsty. Gathered fjords in her pupils, nostril ravines, every vein a river, each ear a sea cave for cuttlefish to bleed their ink. Chartered ships captained by scandalous women to cross her channels, carve out canals, skinny dip in her legs. Gathered multitudes. Gulped rain deep into the well of her skull, each drop dripping rotund vowels, toothy consonants, chiffonade ellipses. She could not stop. Looked outside, the moon, a puppeteer of tides, tipping her poles. The next one is very much autobiographical, as I am a mother to 4 children, but one of my children has an exceptionally rare disease. She is in fact the only child, the only minor in Northern Ireland with the condition that she has. It's called Morpheo disease. So this is about that. It's called Other Mother. Tell me your love is cleaved to your chest by Palomar knot, and knuckles pale as plum blossom. How your child is a chalice full to the brim, perfect. Tell me you are afraid of your child ever being other, unknown quantity. Ask me about being other. Ask me. I'll tell you I'm afraid of someone else's language, words that roll around my mouth like a stone. Diagnosis, progressive, mucopolysaccharidosis, not yet loss, someday loss, prognosis. Ask me. And I'll tell you, I'm afraid of alien vials needling into her jugular vein, of every blood droplet that leaks from beneath her skin. I am other mother. Meds dispenser, limb restrainer, silent witness, somber womb, someday grieving, always other mother. And to finish, this is the poem that named the pamphlet. It's about being a mum and being human and being incredibly hard on yourself, which I think we all do, but I think mums and dads in particular. She Shapeshifter. The truth is in the kitchen, hidden under half-nibbled pizza crusts and sodden tea bags. 10 grime-choked half-moons torn from nail beds in the numb hours between night feeds, no sleep. The fingers, now in delicate stumps, crawl through hair damp with week-long neglect, searching for whatever was there before. They whisper, "Why can't I be gentle with the person I've become?" Thank you very much.